لماذا ينجبون أعدادا كبيرة من البنات والبنين؟ يعني كان الرد جميل. نعم. الرد جميل، نحن ننجب هؤلاء بكثرة لندفعهم حتى للموت.
عبد الله، كيف حالك؟
الحمد لله.
يعني أنت ستكمل المسيرة بعد براء؟
سأكمل.
احكي يا تفضل. ايش بدك تعمل بعد براء، بعد استشهاد براء بالأمس عشان الأسرة وعشان الوطن؟
حجاهد ورابط واستشهد زيه
إن شاء الله. محمد، ماذا ستفعل بعد استشهاد براء؟ هل ستكمل مسيرة براء وتمشي على ذات الدرب؟
نعم. حكم زي هيك حضرني زيه وإن شاء الله يعني حستشهد زي ما هو استشهد.
معظم رياض الأطفال تابعة لأخواتنا في حركة المقاومة الإسلامية حماس، فعندما نجد أنه الأطفال منذ الصغر يتربين على هذه الثقافة، الله غايتنا في سبيل الله، فتنمى عند الأطفال منذ الطفولة حب الجهاد وحب لقاء الله وحب مقارعة الأعداء، كل هذا منذ الطفولة.
Keep talking about Iran. January 2026 marks the deadliest period of protest dispersals by the Iranian authorities and decades of Amnesty's research. Protests began on the 28th of December after a sharp collapse of Iran's currency. This happened amid chronic state mismanagement of essential services and worsening living conditions. Starting with shop closures and strikes in Tehran's Grand Bazaar, protests evolved into mass nationwide street demonstrations calling for the downfall of the Islamic Republic and a political system respecting human rights and dignity. Iranian authorities responded with unprecedented massacres of thousands of protesters under a nationwide internet shutdown they imposed since the 8th of January to conceal their crimes. Verified videos and eyewitness accounts gathered by Amnesty International show that security forces repeatedly firing assault rifles and shotguns at protesters, frequently targeting their heads and torsos. As people in Iran have still been reeling from the grief and shock of the massacres, the authorities waged a militarized clampdown. They imposed nighttime curfews, banned any gatherings, and carried out mass arrests across the country. There is undeniable evidence the Iranian authorities have consistently violated international human rights law. Those arbitrarily detained include protesters, human rights defenders, medical workers who provided care to protesters, lawyers, members of ethnic and religious minority groups, journalists, children, and university students. One such individual at risk is 18-year-old wrestling champion Saleh Mohammadi, who was sentenced to public execution in Qom in relation to the January protests. Iranian authorities must immediately halt any plans to execute him and stop the use of the death penalty.
Martyrdom is a hugely important concept here in the Islamic Republic of Iran. We're currently at an event where hundreds of women hold their babies into the air to show that they're willing to offer their children as martyrs for God.
برادرای شهیدی که الان متوجه شدید، اینا هنگام پیشروی به میدان مین میرسن، بعد در بین خودشون درگیری میشه که کی رو مین بره، کی زودتر بره رو مین و به اون فوز الهی، به اون هدف اصلی که در پیش دارن، به اون لقاء الله که میخوان و به فیض شهادت برسن. اینا برمیگردن عقب و مسابقه 2 میذارن ببینن کدوم یکی از برادرها زودتر رو مین میرسه و زودتر روی مین منهدم میشه، که این برادرها تونستن به اون هدف اصلی خودشون مسابقه را ببرن، به لقاء الله و هدف اصلی و نهایی تمام مسلمانان برسن.
تصویر این حمیدو نشون میده که افتاده رو زمین و داره در خودش میپیچه از درد در لحظه شهادت. نریشن متن میگه که حمید قفس تنگ تنش را رها کرد
و در معیت ملائکه خدا عرصه آسمان اول را طی کرد و به ملأ اعلی پیوست و ما ماندیم.
كراهيتنا أو كرهنا لليهود من منطلق عقيدة. القرآن هو اللي بيدعونا أن احنا نكرههم وما نحبهمش.
لو أن اليهود تركوا لنا فلسطين خلاص يبقوا حبايبنا؟ لا طبعا، عمرهم ما هيبقوا حبايبنا إطلاقا. عقيدتك في اليهود 1 أنهم كفار، 2 أنهم أعداء، مش أعداء عشان يحتلوا فلسطين، وإنما هم أعداء ولو لم يحتلوا شيئا.
نحن نعادي يهود حتى ولو أعادوا إلينا فلسطين لأنهم كفار.
هؤلاء هم اليهود باختصار، وإن لنا عندهم نحن المسلمين لثأرا لا والله لن ينقضي إلا باستئصالهم بإذن الله تعالى.
أعداء المسلمين بعد إبليس هم اليهود. من الذي قال ذلك؟ الله.
The thing that struck me, Piers, about seeing the 7th of October footage was that even the Nazis were actually ashamed of what they did. SS battalions who spent their days shooting Jews in the back of the head and pushing them into trenches had to get very, very drunk in the evening to forget what they had done. The Nazi high command famously had to sort of get around the problem of soldier morale because the soldiers knew this wasn't exactly what their lives were meant to look like either. I tell you one very big difference. If you look at the footage, the raw footage, and I really hope people don't on a wider scale have to view what I viewed the other day, if they see it, they will see something that is at least as barbaric as what the Nazis did. But here's the difference. They did it with glee. They were deeply proud. You see people trying to, taking the head off a young Israeli man with a shovel and then calling their parents back in Gaza and telling them, Father, I've killed 10 Jews with my own hands. Get mother on the phone. I want to tell her how great a job her son has done.
الله اكبر ولله الحمد. يابا افتح الوقت شوف كيف قتلت يابا. افتح بدي اسال عليك وقت قول له وين بروح. يما يصليك يما طول الليل 10 وليد يما طول الليل 10 يما في ايدك يما طول الليل تدولي معاك يما ربنا يحميك يما
You know, I come back to this thing. I'm not exaggerating this. It's very, very interesting, and people need to realize. You had this situation with the Nazis, where they also were a genocidal anti-Semitic organization, but they tried to cover their crimes up. Hamas are actually proud of them, and they've said they will do them until the whole world is clear of Jews.
خلص 7 مليون فلسطيني برا بكفيكوا تسخين في عندكم يهود في كل مكان يجب أن نهجم على كل يهودي متواجد في الكرة الأرضية ذبحا وقتلا بإذن الله سبحانه وتعالى بكفي تسخين.
So I suggest we take that seriously, and I think that Israel is taking it seriously. I hope they continue to take it seriously, but I think the world should take it seriously, and that includes Britain. And when I hear British journalists, British commentators, and British politicians lecturing the Israelis on what they should do, I think, I'm sorry, this shows a failing in our country. It's us that is the weak link in the international security chain on this, not Israel.